How's it going, blind viewers? How's everybody doing today? All right, I got another interview coming at you. Now, this young lady and we started talking, and the time just got away from us. So this was a really, really long one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into two parts. And they're still a little bit long, but I'm going to put it into two parts, and then I'm going to put the entire thing in its entirety, the whole thing in its entirety, up so you can watch the whole thing uncut, or you can watch part one and then part two. But yeah, I had a really great time. The conversation was flowing. It was interesting. I know I had a good time. I think she did too. And I think it's going to show in this interview. So sit back and enjoy. What's up, blind viewers? How's everybody doing? I have another interview for you guys today. And I have with me today SKG Explores. What's up, girl? Oh, yeah. There she is, the one with the pretty eyes.
Oh, thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a day off here, and I'm loving every second of it.
Day off is always a good day.
It really is.
All right. Well, I'm going to just jump into it, and I'm going to ask you my first question. And it is, where are you originally from? What part of the country are you from?
Well, I was born in Iowa, but I
Wow.
was raised in Wisconsin.
Nice. So you're a northern girl.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. If you can't hear it in my voice, a lot of people hear it right away. Some people don't really notice it, but being out here, I hear how different my accent is.
Wow. I didn't pick up on. I usually pick up on at least the Minnesota. The people that's from Minnesota, they kind of talk like that. But
Minnesota?
yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
what were you like as a kid? I mean, were you kind of the same as you are now, or were you a lot different? Were you still kind of, I don't want to say the odd one, but different, or?
Yes, always. I have always been the black sheep of the family, always very different, ever since I can remember. And I always felt growing up, and I don't mean for this to sound really like, oh, poor me, but honestly, I always felt like I never really had my place. Like I never really belonged anywhere, especially when it came to my family. I was always very different. I looked different. I didn't always do what I was supposed to do. I didn't do what everybody else did. But ever since I can remember, I've just been different.
Well, see, I think that's probably why I'm kind of drawn to you a little bit. I'm the same way. I mean, I was always like trying to find that place to fit in. In high school, you got, the jocks, the heads, the preppies, and I wasn't any of that. I was kind of like weird and myself, and I didn't really fit in. I mean, I didn't have problems with a lot of people, but I kind of got along with everybody. But it was like I didn't fit in either. It was kind of weird. So now I know. Now I know why I like you.
Yes, yes.
All right, so you're from up there north. So you guys are right now. You are in New York. Is that correct?
Yes, we're in New York.
Working hard, huh?
Yes, that's the only reason why we're in New York is to work. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't working here. No offense to any New Yorkers. It's just not my place.
I hear you. You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
So you live in what do you live in?
We live in a 1968 travel trailer, very small travel trailer.
Small. What do you pull it with? A truck, a van, a car? What is it?
A car. We pull it with my car.
Awesome. So it's
Yes, that's all it is.
That's efficient. How long have you been doing that?
Since I would say the very end of January.
The end of January, so about half the year. So yeah, okay, yeah, we're in June, so about 6 months you've been doing this, huh?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it goes by so fast.
All right.
Yeah, 6 months.
All right, so I guess now the next big question that everybody wants to know is why? Why? Why did you choose this lifestyle?
Why and why not?
Why not?
Let me see here. Now, this isn't how do I want to say this? This lifestyle isn't something that I had necessarily wanted. It wasn't until I met Black Bigot. That's when I was kind of envious of his lifestyle, of all the places he was going to. But he was still able to work, the different kinds of things he was seeing, and like even on his videos, it was always very interesting to me. So when I met him, it just kind of worked out. Like, I wouldn't say that it's something that I wanted to do, but the idea of it didn't scare me one bit. So he's kind of what I needed to kind of push me into leaving Wisconsin and to living this life. And it's exactly what I needed. And in my opinion, it happened it couldn't be more perfect time.
Awesome. So you weren't looking for it, you just kind of fell into it, and it suits you then, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. Now, are you planning on like long term doing this, or would you like to settle down someplace and or even upgrade to something bigger, or what is your future? What are you looking towards?
The good old future. Gosh, it's so hard to say. It's so hard to say because I'll tell you what, some days I really feel like I am living the life and this is something that I could do for the rest of my life. And more importantly, it benefits Elijah in so many ways. And then I have days where I miss having like an actual bathroom. I miss being able to cook a meal. I miss being able to do dishes in a sink. I miss all these little things. And I say to myself, gosh, I can't wait to just like have an apartment or a home, just to be there, for, just to have a place to call home. And then I think about Elijah and how I would like for him to go to school. Homeschooling isn't really anything that I had thought about up until recently, but it's just hard to say. I don't think that this is something that I would want to do full time for the rest of my life, but I would love to be able to leave for the summer or, to get out at some point.
Right. Well, you're young and you have time. You don't have to make up your mind today, but yeah, that's at least you have some ideas, and if it suits you for now, it's not a big deal, I don't think. And you just mentioned Elijah. He just had a birthday. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So he will be starting school soon, right? So something you actually do have to start thinking about then.
Yes, definitely.
So you did touch on a few things I did want to ask you about. I was curious about, and I guess we'll start since I started with Elijah. Is it difficult with a little one traveling around, dragging them around, and not being like rooted down and having friends and all that? Is it rough?
It definitely is rough. Like I said, there's some things that I'm so very grateful for that he's getting to experience at such a young age. But it's not necessarily tough on him or tough for him, because he is who he is. He's a very cool, laid back, chill kid. And when we first started doing this, he would say, "Mama, where are we going today?" And he was so excited about it. And it got me feeling like, okay, like this is something we can do. And he's learning from it,
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, there's a channel I watch. It's they're called The Freedom Theory, and it's Josh and Kaylee, and they just had a newborn, and
Oh my God.
they've been full timing for a little while, and I was like so intrigued with this. I was like, oh man, I got to watch this. You know, I want to see how this changes their journey and how they look at things and everything. So I was real interested in that, and that's why I didn't want to get personal, but I was wondering how it was to have a child along, and when you're always moving and you don't have roots. And I always think of things like, when I was young, I went out and I played with the same little kids all the time. I had friends right there, and I was just wondering how some of these kids that, well, you guys are at the carnival, so I'm sure there's other kids around, but some of these other people, it's like, who do they play with? They're around a bunch of adults and a bunch of retirees in some trailer park,
Yes. Yes.
So you guys got it pretty good. At least you're working, not like some of the YouTubers that we see who have their hand out. You guys are actually working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something different and new. You're all weird and stuff with a job.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? You're doing it all wrong.
I know. Dang it. Can I start over?
I don't know. Reboot. Now, you mentioned about, wanting to cook and wash dishes in a sink and everything. So where do you do all that stuff? Where do you eat out, or do you cook, or where do you do laundry and all that other stuff?
Okay, well, I'll tell you. I love talking about these things because sometimes as I'm talking about like how we do things, I think to myself, SKG, what are you doing? But I'll tell you. So, Bigot and I shower at Planet Fitness. He goes to the gym there also. I don't always get a chance to go to the gym, but I do shower at Planet Fitness. And I also shower here at the bunkhouses. My boss has 2 bunkhouses out here, and 2 of the single rooms in each of the bunkhouses have a shower connected to it. So I have the key for that shower for when Elijah needs a shower. Sometimes I'll sneak in there too. She doesn't have a problem with it. But so we shower there also. How do I do dishes? I take the dishes into the shower. There's a sink in there. It's just like a bathroom, basically.
Gotcha.
Bathroom without a toilet.
Yeah.
So I do dishes in there. Sometimes I'll just use like a tub with some dish soap and hot water. We get our water. We buy our water, and we have what do you call those things? Like an electric kettle, I believe it's called, to warm up the water.
Okay.
That comes in handy. What else? Cooking. I do cook. I try not to eat out so much because it's very expensive.
Yeah, right.
And I am forever on a budget. So I don't always get to eat out like you see on some channels where they're ordering pizza and they're at the buffet. Yeah, we don't really do that so much. We have a George Foreman grill. That thing comes in handy. We have a rice cooker. We had a crock pot at one point. So we do the damn thing as best as we can,
So what do you have a little fridge or a cooler that you keep food in, or?
We use a cooler. And that's another thing that I want to mention is that the whole saving money thing, it's very hard to save money out here. Because things are expensive when you have to just buy for that day, because we don't have like a big cooler. It's a tiny cooler. So it can get expensive.
Yeah, I mean, even some of the RVers I see, if they don't have one of those big giant fridges, if they have a smaller fridge, they're like buying food every week. They're going to the grocery store because they don't have any room to put it. So I can see how it can get expensive. And I know that the Planet Fitness is a big popular thing with, especially like a lot of the van dwellers and stuff. They all do that. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool though, that you got everything all figured. Now, where do you get your power? You said you have crock pots and George Foreman's and all stuff. Do you have a generator or?
Yes, we have a generator, but while we are out here with the carnival, depending on where we're at, we don't always stay where the carnival's staying. Sometimes we boondock it at a Walmart or wherever we can find. For those situations, we have a generator. Currently, we are where the carnival is, so we are just plugged into their electricity.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty convenient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you mentioned Walmarts. I'll ask
Oh
you
God.
real quick about the Walmarts. Now, recently, it has been, everybody's talking about it. I mean, I'm not out there. I just hear. I don't experience it firsthand. So I'll ask you. I hear a lot of people talking about how the Walmarts were the place to go, and now it's more and more no overnight parking, or they're getting really strict and cracking down. Do you see that as you're traveling around, or is it still a good place to go?
I really don't. I don't find that to be the case. I want to say Bigot and I have probably had 2 or 3 different situations where, for whatever reason, we weren't able to stay at a Walmart. But we didn't wait to find out until we had a knock on the door. There's little, I mean, they have signs posted, but usually if you see like another RV there, usually you're fine. But honestly, like maybe 2 or 3 different occasions, we pulled in and it was just like, no, probably can't park here, and we just went elsewhere. I don't feel like, and maybe it is happening because you know what? It's been so long since we've stayed at a Walmart. It's been probably a couple months, so it might be different now. But from my experience, it was never really a problem. Like I said, 2 or 3 times, and then we just went elsewhere. It wasn't a big deal.
Gotcha. So, I mean, you guys have a little, you kind of answered it all, but, you know, you have the RVers and the van dwellers and everything, and you guys got a little travel trailer. And like the van dwellers, I know they just pull over on a side street or whatever. But I guess you being with the carnival, you can either be there on the site or, like you just said, go to a Walmart. But other than that, do you ever find it hard to find a place to park or stay for a while? Or?
Nope. The only time it was ever difficult is when we were in LA.
Oh.
And that's where it wasn't. There was too many places for people to park, and it was just packed with RVs. I don't know if you've heard about the LA situation.
Yeah.
There's RVs everywhere in LA, and they can be parked in front of somebody's house for as long as they want, and the homeowner can't do anything about it. And they are everywhere, BlindViews. They are everywhere. That's the only time that we had trouble parking, and that's only because we couldn't find parking. But other than that, it really hasn't been an issue. I mean, don't get me wrong, a couple times we've had to drive quite a ways to find somewhere to stay. But no, it hasn't really been too big of an issue.
That's
for
awesome.
Us
that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Now, another big thing that I always wonder about is, and especially with you having a youngin', is like healthcare and getting healthcare ever an issue or a worry or a concern? Do you ever think about like if he gets sick and where's he going to go to the doctor and how and all that? Do you worry about that?
I do worry about that, and I've thought about that. Luckily for Elijah, we wouldn't run into. It wouldn't be that big of an issue for him. But for Bigot and myself, yes, it would definitely be an issue. Right. But I just feel like there's only so much you can do about that. And I feel as though as long as Elijah's okay, then I'm okay. God forbid something happened to us, and I will regret saying this later. But for now, it just is what it is.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, when you get to be an old timer like me, then you got to start worrying about that stuff. You got to not worry about it, but you have to have it in the back of your mind, like, where am I going to get my prescriptions filled all the time? And what if, right. If I have something that goes wrong, where, because when you get old, shit just starts falling apart and stops working right, and you just got to take care of it. And I always wondered how some of these people, when they're all over the place, especially the state of our health care here in the U.S., it's like crazy. So if I'm, if I'm from Pennsylvania and I'm in Wisconsin, I just can't walk into a doctor and say, hey, if I want to pay for it, I can, but insurance isn't going to help me out. So it's always something I always wonder about when I hear people like you guys that travel around, how you deal with all that.
Yes, it's definitely an issue, and it's I mean, because it's one of those things where you can't, and especially like how the whole system is set up, you can't just I don't know, it just doesn't fly. Like I don't foresee you being able to call your doctor and saying, hey, I need a refill of this. I know I haven't seen you in 6 months, but I'm over here now and I was over there. You know what I mean? Like I think it would be very difficult unless you have an amazing doctor. I think that would be really, really tough.
Yes.
To continue to get refills or new prescriptions or whatever it is without actually having to be seen. That would be really, really tough.
Yeah, and that's like the freedom theory that I was just mentioning with a newborn. Well, you know how often you got to take them in for shots and checkups and this and that. And I'm so curious. That's why I keep watching. I'm like, how are they going to deal with all this? Are they going to be in California and all of a sudden go, oh man, we got to run the whole way back to Louisiana to go see the doctor, the pediatrician and stuff? These are the things I wonder about, and that's why I watch some of these channels. Yeah. People think I'm nuts, but hey,
I watch too. Yeah, I want to know how other people do it too, and it's crazy because you think that I'm doing it in a way. I'm still curious to see how other people do it, especially Caravan Carolyn. For some reason, her whole story, her whole situation is very intriguing to me. So I like to know how other people do it. But that's the thing with this lifestyle is it's not going to be the same for everybody,
right.
And I think it takes a special person to be able to do it and do it the whole way and to love your life and to be happy. But it's definitely not for everybody. And for situations like that, medical situations or with your doctor, it's just not feasible for some people.
Yeah, right. You're right. So you obviously have a YouTube channel. What got you started into that? What made you go, I'm going to do this?
Black Bigot.
Yeah?
Black Bigot.
I don't know. He sounds like he's a bad influence on you. He got you living on the road, doing YouTube. I don't know, man.
That darn bigot. That's the only reason why I ever started a channel, and I will tell you what, I am so glad that I did. I don't have very much content. I used to do exploration videos and stuff like that. And for some reason, it just really wasn't my thing, this whole live streaming thing. I love to live stream. I love to get to know people that are in my live streams. But I was just telling him yesterday, I wish I had some inspiration to do some videos, something different. And I also wish I had the time to do that. But you know what? He makes it work. And if he can do it, I can do it. So I just need to figure it out with this whole YouTube thing.
Well, there you go. Well, you just answered my next question was going to be why do you only live stream? At least that's what I know you for, is just live streaming. But you answered it.
Yeah, that's why. That's why. It's quick. I can just push a button. Sometimes I'm even in the middle of doing something and I just let me see, let me live stream and see what everybody's up to, or let me go into a live stream. And the other thing with videos is that it's just so hard. It's just so hard sometimes. And I understand that people are so cool with Elijah, because more than likely, if I'm doing a video, you're going to hear Elijah, see Elijah, you're going to see Elijah run past your screen, and people are so cool about it. But sometimes I'm just I just wish I could just go somewhere and do a nice, decent video like BlindViews does, like Black Bigot, and it never turns out that way. It never does. But I'm not going to give up, BlindViews. I am not going to give up.
Well, just think, one day he'll be a little bit older and he can occupy his time and do his own thing, and then Mom will have all the time in the world to make her YouTube videos.
Yes, I will say, son, it's time for YouTube. Your mother needs to make YouTube videos, sir. And he'll understand. He'll be like, I got you, Ma. I got you.
All right. So, who, besides the obvious, of course, do you watch on YouTube?
Oh, you're so funny. Well, of course, BlindViews. And I think I've mentioned that 1,000 times in my live streams. Why I watch your channel, why I love your channel. Black Bigot, of course. Even though we see each other every stinking day and we're around each other a lot, he still is my favorite YouTuber. Love Black Bigot, Lamont at Large, iNegro News, all of his channels I love. Who else do I watch? I watch Caravan Carolyn. I don't watch her all the time, but I am very curious about her life. Just about everything she does. I love to know what she's up to, where she is. I'm a very nosy person, BlindViews. I just sometimes watch people just because I want to know. Not because I even really like them. I just want to know what they're up to. But as far as like, let me see, like van dwellers or full-time RVers, I don't really watch a whole lot. I used to watch Jed and Evie. I no longer watch them. And for no reason other than, I just, kind of bored with it.
They kind of stopped traveling too, so.
Yeah, and it's like I do the same thing, so I kind of just like, But who else do I watch? I watch Camo Dave, of course, and I mainly watch Camo Dave, so I don't have to watch anybody else. At least I'm being honest. Who else do I watch on YouTube? I wish I could go through my subscriptions and read everybody to you.
So don't forget to keep an eye out for part 2. Or if you're interested, you can watch the whole thing in its entirety.
What we do here is go back.